All right, let's start with seeds this week. How do we start them? When do we start them? This is my favorite time. Some gardeners have already started their seeds. This is my favorite time, right towards the end of January, to get my seeds started, and I go through February starting different sections of seeds. So I have my seeds. We need those. A lot of mine this time around are going to be actually flowers for my cut flower garden. So I have my snapdragons. I have some peppers that I want to get going early because this is one of my favorite vegetables out of the garden. Some more flowers, the cosmos, some petunias, balloon flower that I have one already started outside, which is great because it's a perennial. This one's really hard to germinate, but I got it to go last year. I'm hoping to get another one this year. And then we have basil. So I've got an herb that I still need to start from seed because I didn't have any basil left. There's also another way to get basil, which I'll teach you, but we're gonna start some basil seed. And then I think I'm gonna add some morning glory this year. So I'm gonna start this one to seed as well. Next week I'll start cucumbers and tomatoes, but you start them all the same way. So today's lesson will get you ready and get you all the things that you need. So of course you need your seeds. You need a pin and something to mark all of your seeds with. So now we're headed into cool season, which means that a lot of my lettuces and things that came over from the fall and continuing through winter, whatever didn't make it, I can replant new ones now at this point, and they'll just grow straight and direct sow. So I'll get those started with you probably in the next video. For this video, we're growing peppers too, shishito. These I actually picked up from a great farm stand. These are his blend. So it's a Blackbird Farm in Georgia. I love this guy. He sells at local farmers markets, and he actually gave me some of his seeds to start this year, which is awesome. And then I have just a regular sweet pepper. And I'm starting snapdragon both inside and out. I'd love if they just grow outside, but since I haven't done snapdragon before, I've heard that they're kind of hard to start direct sow. So I'm gonna try a little bit inside and then the other half outside, and we'll see. It'll be an experiment. We'll see what works better. So snapdragon is also a cool season plant, so we wanna get that in like immediately and get him to flower before we start getting those warmer temperatures that Georgia so likes here. All right, so now I've got all of my seed tags. We need to just go ahead and get the dirt into our planting area. So we'll do that next. I grabbed a pencil, and then I have my seed tray all started with the soil that I chose. This is the first time I've used soil direct from my garden. I've heard that it's not that much different than using seed start, so we will see. In the years past, I've always used Jiffy, believe by it. I will still start my cucumbers and tomatoes that way, but everything else with the flowers and the pretty ease of which I'm planting some of these, I think that my mix is good enough that it's gonna make it. And we'll talk about soil mix as we are putting the holes. So I'm just putting a little pencil hole in the top of each. So I have a little hole to put my seed in. Doesn't need to be very big, about the size of the seed, and then we're gonna cover the top with soil. So I'm just going randomly. I probably should have gone in order, then that would have been easier to tell where I have my pencil. But soil is so important to your garden. It's probably the #1 thing that will help you succeed this next year or fail. So my soil mix is a 1:1:1 ratio. I use topsoil to 1 part compost to 1 part sand. So that gives me a nice sandy, loamy soil. Why I want that? I want the sand to be able to fall apart in my fingers. I want it to have plenty of air and oxygen in it. And I don't want the clay or the heaviness of a topsoil to overtake my plants. I want the roots to have a nice, easy way to grow. So again, it's just 1 part topsoil. So you can pick up a bag of topsoil. I prefer organic, but you can pick. Don't do anything with additives though. So make sure it's topsoil, then compost. You can use mushroom compost, you can use cow manure. I don't have a preference on compost, but 1:1 on that. So if you have 1 bag of topsoil, you're also gonna add 1 bag of compost. And then your final bag is gonna be sand. And believe it or not, a lot of your nurseries, if you go to a local nursery, is just gonna sell play sand. And that's all you need is a good sand. So you take that play sand and mix it right in, and you've got yourself the perfect soil. So I already have a great soil. When I started my garden, I did that. So I just took that soil, put it right in here. We're gonna find out together how well this germinates. Again, next week, because it's my tomatoes and my cucumbers, and I'm not sure yet how this is gonna work, I am gonna start them with the starting soil, and that'll be in my Jiffy soil. All right, so we've got the holes in each of these. Now I've made my tags already too. Let's see, I guess we'll start with the basil, because that's a cool to warm season plant. So this is gonna go outside once all chance of frost has ended. I'm just gonna pour a couple. I think I'll do 4 starts, but if I have, I'll put 2 to 3 seeds in each of these. So if I have more germinate than the 4, then I'll spread those out and use even more. I'm only gonna start 4 plants because I can propagate more. Basil's a really easy one to propagate from, that and tomatoes. So if you don't have a lot of seed or you don't wanna start a lot of seed, one of the easiest ways is to start some seed and then also propagate from those plants once you have those plants started. Okay. Easiest ways is to start some seed and then also propagate from those plants once you have those plants started. Okay, so I have basil in this one and this one. I'm putting, basil seed is really tiny. So I'm putting about 3, I'm picking them up with my finger. I'm putting about 3 basil seeds in here to start, and then just pushing just a slight amount of soil over top. You don't want to smother the seed too far under or they won't have the light they need to germinate. Okay, so there's my 4 basil. Hopefully these are dry enough. I can put them back. It looks like they are. You know what, I'm not gonna chance it. So I'm gonna do 6 basil, because instead of putting those back in, we'll just go ahead and plant these as well. Okay, so these 6 are my basil. And I'll just take this tag. And for me, I'm gonna place it right in the center. I'm actually gonna write the number 6 on it. Let me get 6. I'm gonna put it right in the center of my 6, and then I'll know that I have 6 basil starts right here. Wherever is fine. Doesn't have to be too fancy. All right, so there's my 6 basil. I know that's there. Now I'm gonna switch over. Let's do peppers next. I always like to start with the stuff that I'm actually gonna eat. It just gets me motivated. So we'll do peppers next too. And peppers, I love peppers, and they take a while to grow, and they do produce quite a bit if you're harvesting regularly, but I'm gonna go ahead and start quite a few peppers because we eat a lot of sweet peppers in our house. All right, so we're gonna do 1, 2 seeds. Okay, so that's my basil. My peppers next to my basil here. I have a little spot right here that I can also go in between. Here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 sweet peppers. I think I'll go 5. I think I'm gonna make this whole row. 6, 7. I'm dropping 2 seeds per container just in case one isn't a germinator, because you can have seeds that are just not ready to grow anything. All right, and if both go, I can always eliminate one, or I can even plant it up into a different pot. It just depends on your preference. So those seeds I'm gonna bury a little bit further. They're a little bit bigger than the basil seed, so you can get them covered a little bit more, not by much, but it's basically the depth of the seed is based on how big the seed is. So if it's a decent sized seed, you can put a little more soil on top. Just take a little soil from there. All right, so I think I've got my peppers all buried. Oh, this one still needs to be buried. So I've got my peppers. I'm gonna say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 pepper starts. Okay. I'm just gonna put those in the middle here so that I know that it's this whole row. And then I have the 6 basil here, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more containers of something. So I think we'll do the snapdragon there. They're a very tiny seed. Let's see. Just a second. Hey there, I'm just getting home from 2 soccer games. I'm getting into my garden, which I haven't taken down my deer fencing, so just getting in there. But got my bowl, my scissors, and a whole bunch of lettuce to harvest. I still have to pick peas later today too. We had a bunch of peas come in yesterday. Lettuce is growing like crazy, but I'm not gonna do bib. That's bib. I think we're gonna do a romaine salad tonight. So Caesar salad. And some fried chicken for dinner tonight after 2 soccer games today. And Isaac won the first one, second one, not so much. But he had amazing goals today, goal blocks. Yeah. I'm really happy with how the romaine's coming and how the butter crunch is coming along. I mean, that one's just like gorgeous. I'm afraid to cut him, but do not be afraid to cut your lettuce because this is my first season really doing lettuces, and I was like afraid, like, oh, is it big enough? And cutting this one is what has caused it actually to get that big. You can see we've eaten out of it a couple of times. So they'll grow like so much more if you actually harvest. So you should be harvesting at least once a week. So today we're gonna do romaine though, and then a whole bunch of my Black Simpson has grown in as well. So we're gonna cut off a bunch of this Black Simpson, and it'll be back within a week for us to eat all of this yummy Black Simpson too. So I'm excited about our dinner tonight. Pretty easy dinner since we had a full day of soccer today. Let me know what you did with your Saturday.